Good morning, children. Today we can start a new lesson that is from your history. Third chapter, the Delhi Sultans. The second chapter of history we studied about the five major Hindu dynasties ruled in the Indian subcontinent between the 7th to 12th centuries. Okay, that is they are Chahumanas, Gujarat Rashtrakutas, and Cholas and Palas. They were the five major dynasties, and about the administration of them and all these things we discussed in the last chapter. In this chapter, we are mainly discussing about the Delhi Sultans and how the Muslim rulers established their powerful kingdoms in the Indian subcontinent and the history of the Delhi, how the Delhi became the very famous. All these things we are discussing about from this chapter, and the administration and the details of these dynasties we are discussing mainly. Okay. In chapter 2, we saw the regions like the Kaveri Delta become the center of the large kingdoms. Okay, did you notice that there was no mention of a kingdom with Delhi as its capital? That was because Delhi became an important city only in the 12th century. So, the last chapter we didn't hear about much about the Delhi because at that period Delhi was not a capital city and it was not a famous city. Okay, that is why we are not here. We are not studying about Delhi. But Delhi became an important city only in the 12th century. Okay. Delhi first became the capital of the kingdom under the Tomara Rajputs, who were defeated in the middle of the 12th century by the Chauhans. Okay. So the Delhi become a powerful capital city under the control of Tomaras, Rajputs dynasties. Okay. So you look at the page number 31 and there is given one table. That first table there is Rajput dynasties, Tomaras. Okay, Tomaras, early 12th centuries, and important ruler known as Anagapala. Okay, so Tomaras at first they started as Delhi, they used as a capital city. Okay, then from the Tomaras and important rule of Anagapala, who defeated Chauhan's rulers, defeated there and captured the Delhi and Ajmer and controlled, and the famous Chauhan's ruler Prithviraj Chauhan founded the Delhi as a biggest and powerful capital city. So they were the two important Hindu rulers ruled and controlled the Delhi, who were Tomaras, from the Tomaras, who is Anagapalas, and Prithviraj Chauhan from the Chauhans. Okay, then the transformation of Delhi as a capital uh, that control vast area of the subcontinent started with the foundation of the Delhi Sultans in the beginning of the 13th century. Okay, when the Delhi Sultans, mainly Muslim rulers, established their kingdom, from there the history of the Delhi started, and the Delhi became the famous capital city and commercial center in the 13th century. Okay, so that is about the history of the Delhi. Okay, and we studied in the last chapter. Okay, last chapter we studied about the Muhammad of Ghazni. Muhammad of Ghazni, invader of the Afghanistan, and he raided several times India and captured the wealth of the India and plundered the wealth of the India, and he used to that wealth he used to make big capacity in Ghazni. Okay, we studied about the Ghazni, and his one of the follower is known as was known as Muhammad of Ghori. Muhammad of Ghori. Muhammad of Ghori was also an invader who marched across the mountain pass in the northwest to reach India. As his name suggests, he was from Ghor, a small kingdom, present-day Afghanistan. Actually, the ruler of Ghor was a subordinate of Muhammad of Ghazni. Okay. Then Muhammad of from the Muhammad after the death of the Muhammad of Ghazni, Muhammad Ghori established his powerful kingdom in the Afghanistan and especially in the Ghor, and he was a very powerful ruler. So that is why he started to establish his kingdoms, and started to capture nearby the boundaries, that is nearby the Afghanistan, which are the areas, and he was also started to attack Indian subcontinent and mainly Delhi. Okay. Muhammad of Ghori had left his slave Qutubin in charge of the territories he had conquered in India. Okay, so Muhammad of Ghori had left his slave Qutubin in charge of the territories he had conquered in India. Okay, so from there the history of the Delhi Sultan started. Okay, from the Muhammad Ghori captured the various part of the subcontinent, and he left. Before when he left, he appointed his slaves as a governor of the Indian subcontinent. That person was known as Qutbuddin Aybak. Qutbuddin Aybak. Okay, in this early Turkish rulers, in that the first ruler was known as Qutbuddin Aybak. Okay, so the ruler of the dynasty were called slave because he was a slave of the Muhammad Ghori. So that is why this dynasty was known as slave dynasty. Okay, and that is about the foundation of the Delhi Sultans. That is about the foundation of the Delhi Sultans. The first Delhi Sultan's ruler is known as Qutbuddin Aybak. He was known as slave. He founded the slave dynasty because he was a slave of Muhammad of Ghori, invader of the Afghanistan, and he appointed as a governor. And after the death of Muhammad of Ghori, Qutbuddin Aybak became the ruler of the Indian subcontinent, mainly in the Delhi and Ajmer. He was controlled. Okay, so that is about the Qutbuddin Aybaks, and from there started these slave dynasties and Delhi Sultans, and mainly there were 5 major dynasties are from this Delhi Sultans. That is slave dynasty, first one slave dynasty, then Sayyid dynasty, Lodi dynasty, Ghalji dynasty, Tughlaq dynasty. Like that, 5 major dynasties mainly we are studying about them. Okay, so about 5 major dynasties we are studying from this chapter. Finding out about the Delhi Sultans. Although inscriptions, coins, and architecture provide a lot of information, especially valuable are historian says that Tariq singular, Tawarik plural, written in Persia, the language of administration and the Delhi Sultans. So the history of the Delhi Sultans we are mainly getting from the Tariq and Tawarik. That is a historical records mainly written in the Persian language, and this Tariq and Tawarik, the history and administration of the Delhi Sultans, the scribes written. Okay, we last chapter we studied about the Prasastis. Like that one is known as Tariq and Tawarik. That is different from the Prasastis, but this is also like that the history of the achievements of the sultans, mainly the language Persia. The others of Tawarik were learned and administrators, secretaries or administrators, poets and courtiers. Both recognize events advise the rulers and governs. So these others of Tawarik were very powerful, and they were maybe secretaries or administrators. They were the main duty of them is keep the following details of the kings. Okay, so that is about the from the this Tariq and Tawarik we are getting the details about the Delhi Sultans. Okay, thank you. Today this much is only, and read the Delhi Sultans first and second pages and understand it and study about them. Okay, thank you.